Hello. In this lesson, I want you to solve quadratic equations by using the square root property and solve quadratic equations by factoring. Some vocabulary you're going to come across is the square root property and the zero product property. The inverse operation of squaring is square root. So if I've got a square and I just want to get it by itself, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the square root of both sides. Now the square root of 64 is 8. But the square root of x minus 3 squared, remember, when you take the square root of a variable, that's the absolute value. So I get the absolute value of x minus 3 equals 8. Well, to get rid of the absolute value, we make two cases. We say x minus 3 equals 8, or x minus 3 equals negative 8. A lot of times, if you'll see it, you'll notice that we'll skip this second step and we'll go straight to the third step. Then we're going to add 3 to both sides. So x equals 11. Or if you add 3 over here, x equals negative 5. Now let's check that to make sure it's right. If I put an 11 for x, 11 minus 3 squared. Well, 11 minus 3 is 8, and 8 squared is 64, so that checks. Let's put in negative 5. So negative 5 minus 3 squared is negative 8, and negative 8 squared is 64. So there you have it. Okay, let's take a look at example 2. Now, before you take the square root, you want to get the square root by itself. So I want to isolate the square root number. So I want to get rid of that adding 7. So what we're going to do is we're going to subtract 7 from both sides first. Then we get y plus 5 squared equals 28 minus 7, which is 21. Now, I will take the square root of both sides. So then I'm going to get the absolute value of y plus 5 equals the square root of 21. I'm going to leave it just as the square root of 21 for now. Then we make two cases. So y plus 5 equals the square root of 21, or y minus 5 equals negative square root of 21. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to subtract 5 from both sides. So then y equals negative 5 plus the square root of 21. And forgot my plus sign there. And then subtract 5, I'll get negative 5 minus the square root of 21. A lot of times you'll see people write this, since it's plus and minus of the same number, we'll say y equals negative 5 plus or minus the square root of 21. This is the exact answer. Now to find the decimal answer, we're just going to use our calculator. So we're going to say negative 5 plus the square root of 21. And that will be a negative 0.42. Or negative 5 minus the square root of 21. And then I get negative 9.58. And there we have it. That's using the square root property.